When I first met Kobe, I have to be honest, I didn't like him.
It's almost a miracle.
Oh, look out! Ride 'em, Cowboy! Kobe Bryant! What a play!
There's the dribble drive, nice move. Wow, did you see the move by the kid? That's Kobe.
18 years old, 6'6".
Watch him put on a show here. Here we go. Here he goes. 360 turn in the air. Two-hand slam.
Yes.
But look at his style. Look at his rhythm. Check out the way he walks. He's cocky. He looks cocky.
Dishing off for Kobe Bryant! Oh, what a dunk!
7:49. Here's Kobe dribble driving underneath. Throws it back over his head and in. Basket count. What a play.
Here comes Bryant ahead of the field.
So I actually met him 2 times. I mean, the first time I met him, I was only 17 years old, and he was having a fundraising event. And the first time that I met him, I have a picture with him, and this is how the conversation went, all right? Hey, Kobe. Yeah? Is it cool if we take a picture? Sure. And we took a picture. That was it. That was the first interaction that I had with him. First, I wasn't a big fan, but after I met him and got to take a picture with him, you know, that was something very special to me, right? So I kept that picture. I would show people, and after that day, I began to follow him more in the sports. Then started to go to his games. For like 2 years, I did not miss not one game, and I started to go to the games, and I got to witness some of the most important games, championship games. See those shots that he made that would win the game live. I got to experience that, and for that, you know, I'm very thankful. But little did I know that the second time that I would meet Kobe would be in a whole different time of my life and for a whole different reason. But now I'm in a whole different mindset, in a whole different area of my life where I'm actually been traveling in over 25 nations, training leaders in government, arts and entertainment, education, business, family, and religion. Now this time it's not me wanting to go take a picture with Kobe, it was actually his agent. Call us to see if we can sit down with him and Kobe. Imagine that. Can you sit down with us over lunch and let's talk leadership? So we invited him in a local place where I knew the people, I knew the owner, and I knew that they wouldn't be bothering him. I wanted to take him to a place where they're not gonna be like, oh, picture or autograph. I didn't want that. I wanted to have a place where we can really talk and we can really engage. So my mindset at this time was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down with them and I'm gonna change their freaking lives. And I'm gonna really use this to ask them right questions, to challenge them in their leadership. We scheduled a time, it was a lunchtime. And it was funny because at this point I drive up, you know, I park by myself. And I'm kind of waiting. I'm early. I like to be early. I like to get my mind right. So I'm sitting there in the parking lot. Man, I'm about to meet with them. All right, I'm even in prayer. Like, I'm going to change their lives. Like, I'm just preparing myself, right? And then I see this black Escalade. And the car stood out because it was a nice car. It was all blinged out, right? So I'm like, oh, this must be him. So he pulls, like, imagine, like, these are all the parking spaces. And I'm parked right here. And there's more. Now, he pulled right here to park, right? Now this is where the story gets funny because I'm there, I'm waiting, and I'm watching now, right? And he doesn't know me. He doesn't know I'm watching him, right? So he's going, he stops, and there is one parking that was open. He was gonna have that parking, but there was a cart, a grocery cart, right? From the Stater brothers, and it was right there in the way. So I'm just watching him, okay? So he stops, he gets out of the car. So now I know it's Kobe, right? He's walking and he gets the cart and he looks around and he goes, and he just pushes it. And I'm like, no freaking way, right? And I'm seeing the cart kind of catch some speed, you know, going downhill, and it didn't go like too far, like a couple spaces, and boom, hits a car. He didn't even flinch. He walks back to his car, gets in, parks it. So I'm like, no freaking way did he just did that. Like, what? So I was like, all right, I'm going to get out right now and I'm going to pretend that it was my car and I'm going to like just go mess with him, right? Because he doesn't know me, doesn't know that that's my car or not. So I get out of the car, so I'm like, I'm going to go mess with him. So I go and I start walking up, he's getting in his car. I'm like, hey, what happened? That's my car. Oh, really? Oh, my bad. I'm like, you just threw the cart into the car. Oh, and then I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold it anymore. So I'm like, I'm just kidding. I'm Richard. I'm about to meet with you for lunch right now. And he's like, oh, and of course that makes it even more awkward. You know, I thought maybe we can joke about it, but it didn't happen like that. Now he's thinking like, we're gonna have lunch right now and maybe I'm gonna say something about it. So that's in his mind, right? So we're sitting there and I'm right here and they're across, and it was Kobe and it was Rod right in front of me. Like he wasn't really, connecting with me, and I was like, man, I think I just embarrassed him. So I don't know if he was gonna think I'm gonna tell on him or I'm gonna bring it up or be like, hey. So for me, that first impression, that first interaction with him, I didn't like him. But again, my goal was to change their lives. So I was like, man, this shows even more that he freaking needs some leadership skills, right? So now I can feel the awkwardness. His agent, Rob, very good man, man of God. He was sharing with me, asking questions, about leadership, about how the team is doing. It wasn't good, right? It was unstable. The stuff that he was going through. There was a lot of things that were going on in his life right now that weren't so good. And it was all in the media. I think this was a part of the reason why, they reached out and said, hey, let's talk about leadership. In this conversation, we started to connect more. Maybe he started to kind of feel like, okay, he's not gonna, rat me out right now. It's not making it about that. So it got less awkward. And then we started to connect on other things. Kobe started to open up more, having some eye contact now and asking questions. So the conversation went from, awkward to superficial to connecting, opening up, and it got very real. I was very thankful for the kind of conversation that I was able to have in that time. And we were there for like probably 3 hours, 3.5 hours, way beyond eating our food. And that shows the kind of connection that there was there. That it wasn't just like, okay, let's eat and get out. Like we had eaten, and we're there a couple hours later, just talking, having real good conversation. I started to see the interaction and the difference in Kobe's life, in his leadership, in things that he was talking about. And from that time even to now, hearing, just yesterday, being in a helicopter with his daughter, with the other people in there and crashing, now he's not here. So for me, of course, hearing that, it takes me back. I started to remember all these things and just the growth. And from this first interaction that I had of this young kid, trying to figure things out, being put in a very high place, very young. A lot of people watching him, straight out of high school, imagine that. Me making that much money, that much people watching you, that much skill on the courts, amongst all these veterans that have been around for a while. That's a lot of pressure for him, and didn't handle it too well in the beginning, but he matured. That's something that stands out to me right now, to show how he went from this place where he was trying to figure things out, didn't do it all right, made some big mistakes, but he took responsibility for those things like a real leader does, like a real man will do, and began to clean that up. So for me, that shows a lot about what a true leader is. When people hear about it, what happened? It hit them. They cried. They dropped everything. They go to the Staples Center, and they're there to pay their respects because of the impact that this man had. Like for me, when I die, how do I want people to remember me? Do I want people to be moved by my death, to be challenged by my death, to become more, to do more? And that's something that Kobe did. He made everybody like, wow, man, this legend, so young. All that skill, he had so much more in him to give, and now it's done. It's gone. He's not going to have any more chance. There's no more tomorrow for him or for his daughter. And of course, his family is grieving. But I want to focus on the part of, let's allow his death to produce life. His struggle, his life that he lived, to be something that ignites something new in us, to really be thankful for what we have, but also to not allow our skill, our talent to be hidden, to be put aside, for you to be afraid to get on the court and freaking play the game of life and be willing to make mistakes, be willing to, fail, but also be willing to clean it up and get up and to make something out of it. I'm thankful that I got to have those experiences with Kobe, that first one at the 17-year-old, take a picture. It ignited something in me. But then also to have that, second experience where it started off very funny with him throwing the cart, but also it turned into something very meaningful and very deep. And for me, I know I wasn't the only reason, but I really believe that I did have impact that day. Because I know from there, his whole career, and I'm not saying I'm the reason, but for me, I want to know that I want to believe that I had something to do with something there, to where something that I said, hit his heart or made him think differently, or to encourage him or to make him feel loved in some way. Something at that day, I want to believe that there was something powerfully that was spoken. Kobe, you'll be missed. You'll never be forgotten. You're a legend. And what you've done is going to continue in so many people's lives. And to all the family, praying for you. May the Comforter, the God of the universe, comfort your hearts, your mind. And I know there's nothing that can be said or, even prayed to remove such pain. But just know that there's so many people around the world who are with you, who are praying for you. And just thank you for everything you guys have done as a family. I don't know how to end it.